We are in a very precarious situation, and we need to open the economy. We need to do it safely, but we will not have anything left. We are headed for a good long period of struggle, and progressive ideas will make a depression into a Great Depression. Remember, it's only called the Depression everywhere else in the world. The Great Depression is because the progressives screwed with it so much, it took us over 10 years to get out. So what are we doing now? Well, we thought we would talk to an expert on the economy, Kevin Freeman. He is the host of Economic War Room that's on Blaze TV. He's a guy who was working with Sir John Templeton in the 90s. He was managing $2.5 billion. He has done reports for the Pentagon. He has traveled all over the world. He's advised presidents and everybody. We have him for the next couple of minutes. We do that in 60 seconds.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
Arguing with Socialists.
First of all, it's democratic.
The new book from Glenn Beck.
And the other thing, too, is that
you can order it now on Amazon or wherever books are sold.
Kevin Freeman is an amazing guy. In the private sector, he co-developed and managed the portfolio operations group for Templeton and managed nearly $2.5 billion. He's consulted and briefed members of both the House and the Senate, President and past CIA, DIA, FBI, Homeland Security, Justice Department. He has done critical studies on 2008 that was used for the DOD. And he is the host of Economic War Room that you can watch on Blaze TV. If you are a member, just watch Blaze TV and Economic War Room. You can also find all of his work at economicwarroom.com. Welcome to the program, Kevin. How are you?
Glenn, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Well, I could be better. Our economy could be working. There doesn't seem to be a shortage of money. There seems to be a shortage of commerce. And I don't think people really understand what we have possibly done to our economy. It's because we are all locked in our house still. People think we're going to go back to the way it was. Can you give me some insight on what you think the world's going to look like here in the next 12 months?
Well,
it
depends on it depends on which perspective you take. If you look from the perspective of the elitists, those that are sitting in their mansions like the Nancy Pelosi's with ice cream, their full expectation that we're going to not only go back to the way things were, at least for her, but that this is the opportunity to remake all of society in the vision that they have. And that's frightening and depressing. But if you talk to liberty-minded people, and I spend at least half my day doing that every day, they're scared, they're hopeful, and they're ready to work. They're ready to change things in a positive way for this country. So we have a path. God gave us, I choose you life or death. Well, we have a path of tyranny or liberty in front of us. And the liberty path is going to be harder to get there. The natural forces push us to tyranny. But it is still there. And if we cry out to God, I believe we have a shot at the liberty path.
So you have 7 steps to open up the economy, and I just want to hit on a couple of them. Shelter the vulnerable is the first step. The second one is use data-driven approach to open up certain parts of the country. You say there's a data tool that can tell you which counties can open right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Why aren't we? Go ahead.
It's a tool that Navigo has developed. I'm looking at it right now. State of Texas. If we open the entire state of Texas right now, we might have 451 additional COVID deaths than keeping it shut down. That was the estimation that this tool has. But we would have 986 more suicides. And that's an estimation. And then you take that data and you look down to the county level and you say, this county has young people. They don't lack ventilators. They don't have people with lots of diabetes. They have an important and critical industry. We could open in a county-by-county basis and we could get the economy. It's like after the lights go out, you go with the breaker switches. You want to turn on the most important things first so that you get your house back up and powered properly.
So, Kevin, first of all, what is the name of this? Is it an app or what is this?
Well,
this tool that you were just talking about.
Yeah, patriotic group of engineers at Navigo started it. You can see it at restartnow.io. Anybody can go there. I've got Texas pulled up on mine. There's a little green button when you go to Texas. It says turn on the economy. You press that button, and it shows you the counties that can be opened, and then it shows you exactly what the data is telling us of how much savings it's going to bring in jobs, in lives, and so forth. And there's some counties, some places that need... Go ahead.
It's called Restart. Sorry. What is it? Restart?
Restartnow.io.
Now.io. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
There's some counties, you were saying.
Yeah, there's some counties that need to remain shut. I mean, there's no question. The idea of opening all of Texas or all of New York or all of Florida doesn't make sense when you can go down to the county level. And I worked with this team and said, let's make this done by entrepreneurs, by patriots. It's funded by an Indiegogo campaign, not federal money. I told them reject the federal money and reject the big data money. Big data has been in trying to buy this tool. And so we started an Indiegogo campaign where people can say, hey, I want to see what my county's doing. Here's $45 or $9 or, it doesn't matter what you give, just people giving. And all of a sudden, people want to know, is my county one that's safe? This is a tool that has the data that you don't have to worry about it being manipulated for political purposes.
I have to tell you, this is I'm looking at it now. You end the shutdown now, end the shutdown in 30 days. It shows if you end the shutdown now, how many dollars have been lost, how many jobs have been lost, and how many COVID deaths versus suicides. Then if you end it in 30 days, how many additional dollars, how many additional jobs, and increased suicides? I mean, this one is at least trying to balance both the heart and the head, because we have to open this country back up. And I don't know if the average person realizes the damage that is being done every day that we are sitting on our hands.
Well, there's no question. If you watched Vice President Pence gave the commencement address at the Air Force Academy, and you saw those thousand patriotic seniors graduating, there were two that were missing because they locked all the seniors in their rooms, and two of them, unfortunately, took their own lives. They were healthy. They were young. There's no way they would have died of COVID, but because we put that enormous emotional burden on those seniors, two of America's finest took their own lives. And that's happening across the country as people are facing abject poverty or the virus, and they're trying to make this Sophie's choice here. The problem is that seniors, and I talk to lots of them, say, hey, look, give me liberty or give me death. But elitists say, you can have my liberty, just don't let me die. We've got to go back to that. Our American people realize there's a risk to all of life, whether we're driving at 75 miles an hour or 55 miles an hour. You can save lives by lowering the speed limit, but you cost living. And people say we've got to restart the economy. So I say if that's the case, let's shelter the most vulnerable, number one. And number two, let's have a data-driven approach, a scientific approach to opening the economy starting immediately, not from political reasons, not because of marches, not because of totalitarian dreams. Use data-driven approach and get it started now, saving lives and saving the economy.
Yeah, and there are lives to be saved with the economy. We are looking, where do you stand on the warning from the UN that we are looking at global famine, quoting the UN, of biblical proportions because of COVID and other things like the plague of locusts and everything else that happened?
Well, that's where you go to 2 Chronicles 7:13 in the Bible, where he says, if I send a drought, if I send locusts, and if I cause literally a pandemic, a plague, then we should turn to God. And that was my seventh step. I go through the six steps, and the seventh step is cry out to God.
Yeah, we're in real trouble because I think this is what God is telling us, and I'm not sure if that is happening. We need a massive awakening. Kevin, I don't know if you're aware. I did a special last night of Event 201, where the people, Bill Gates and Soros and everybody else and the UN, they are looking to move their Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 goals forward on a plague event like this. And they talk a lot about public-private partnerships. And how the government and the private sector need to start working hand in hand and working as one. That's great if you don't have fascism where one is telling the other what to do or where the government is owning part of that. But I think this is where we're headed with a lot of these bailouts. The Fed now is the largest landowner in the country. We now, because of these bailouts, now own part of the U.S. airline industry. Where is that in the Constitution? Where are you seeing things happening that we really need to be aware of and stop?
Well, Glenn, the first thing is the special you did last night was fantastic. I sat and watched it with my wife last night before I went to bed. It's scary. It's really well done. One thing that most people don't realize, on January 23rd, published on CNBC, George Soros warns Trump of potential economic doom before election, and he's crowing the stock market's all-time highs, and George Soros is saying, you don't realize it, but we're going to have economic doom before the election. How did he know that? My answer is what you showed us last night. Soros at Davos was told this is worse than we think. They knew it at the World Health Organization. They knew it in China. He had access to that, and so he just came out and just tweaked President Trump and said, you know what, there's economic doom coming. And I think that is one of the smoking guns that says these guys, I don't think they caused it. You made that clear. But I think they were prepared for it. They were prepared with a game plan to take away our civil liberties and to remake the world in their image as soon as the pandemic hit. And they were aware that a pandemic was on its way because of what happened in China, and the World Health Organization they knew was covering it up.
So, Kevin, hang on for 1 minute. I got to do a commercial, and I want to come back and I want to ask you a couple of other things on what we should be pushing for as a people. And one of them is what Mitch McConnell said yesterday. The states should not be bailed out. They should have to declare bankruptcy, and we should allow the states to declare bankruptcy. And I'd like to hear your opinion on that when we come back in just a minute. Kevin Freeman from the Economic War Room, which you can watch online at blazetv.com. All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about Rectech grills. I was just telling Stu a few minutes ago, yesterday was a man day for me. Yeah, I don't get them very often, but I took out the ladder and my power tools, and I was up on the roof of my barn yesterday doing some work, fixing the gutters, cleaning some stuff up because I'm getting ready to repair the barn. Yes, I am going to repair the barn. That's probably be why nobody will ever use it again. But and then before I left the house, I put a big old piece of meat on my new Rectech grill, and I started the smoker up. Took about 3 hours. I came back, turned the heat up, seared that thing, sat down for a big old piece of meat. Yeah, it was a man day. If you'd like a man and a man day, all you have to do is get a Rectech grill, rectechgrills.com. These are the best money can buy. They're sturdy. They're smart. They have smart technology. So, it's not exactly, I wasn't out chopping the wood to be able to go put it in the smoker. I pushed a couple of buttons after I put the meat in. That's it. But a man did it. Rectech Grills. Check them out now. You're going to love these grills. Rectech Grills, RECTEC Grills with an S.com. Right now, 20% off all the add-ons and accessories with the purchase of any new grill while supplies last. Get free shipping on orders over $99. It's rectechgrills.com, RECTEC Grills.com. Do it now. 10 seconds, station ID. We're with Kevin Freeman from the Economic War Room on Blaze TV. And Kevin, I want to ask you quickly a couple of ideas that I think we should be pushing for. First of all, Kudlow came out yesterday and said businesses should not be held liable for employees and customers getting, sick, coronavirus. I don't think you're going to have businesses open up until you get some protection, because they can't afford the lawsuit. Because they opened up and, I got sick in his store, or I was going to work and I got sick. We need protection from lawsuits. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, we went to Disney World over the Christmas break, and 3 of my family members came down with the flu. They got it at Disney World, no doubt. We didn't sue anybody. That's just the unfortunate reality. And it could have been deadly. It wasn't, praise God. But the point is that you're right. Businesses won't open unless they have the ability to have the assurance. This isn't their fault. They didn't cause this. If anyone's to be blamed for this, and that was one of my 7 steps, it's if you broke it, you buy it. China broke it. They're the ones that should be paying for this, not American businesses.
The other is the states. They're all crying poor mouth. We knew these pension funds were coming undone. They're using this crisis to get bailed out on their pension funds and put their house in order with our tax dollars. I don't live in California for a reason. I knew that was insane and would collapse, and I didn't want to be around for it and didn't want to put all my money into it. Now, if they get bailed out, they will be taking not my money, but my children's money. What do you think about allowing them to go bankrupt? I don't think states can go bankrupt, can they?
No, you don't see states go bankrupt. You've seen municipalities where New York was on the verge of bankruptcy back, I guess, in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
But no, you've never seen that. But here's the reality on pension funds. They've been playing with our money for a long time. If you're a pensioner and you have money in a state fund, they've been using ESG, environmental, social justice, and governance, to determine the decisions rather than getting the best possible returns. The problem is the leadership in all of these states is so far left, they want to push us to the brink of failure and collapse so that they can institute socialism. And this is when we have to stand up with a liberty answer. We have a $5.5 to $6 trillion hole in our economy already from COVID-19, and every quarter we stay under, it's going to be another $6 trillion. We're going to have to fill that hole. We have to do it the liberty way. Every decision should be made with a liberty in mind of what is best for the American people. What would the founders do?
What are some of the things that, because I think constitutionalists and conservatives need to take a bigger role and start proposing some things. For instance, there's got to be a lot of red tape that could be cut right now that would spur on economic growth when we do go back to work. Is there anything big that jumps out at you, or would you be willing to look into those and make some recommendations?
I think the easy, low-hanging fruit is healthcare, and that was another one of my 7 steps. Right now, you can get on the phone and you can talk to a doctor in any other state, and if they're a licensed physician in that state, there's reciprocity in a lot of these states to where they say, we'll allow that because of the healthcare needs. And so that is something that's a reform that we could institute right now. You can have simpler access to medicines. You can have simpler diagnosis. You can have cross-state lines with insurance, and we should have price transparency. The benefit of reforming the healthcare system in a liberty-oriented fashion right now would help offset that cost. And if we would stop China from stealing our intellectual property and combine those 2 things, we could have this $6 trillion loss paid for in maybe 4 or 5 years.
Quickly, Kevin, you've advised the Pentagon, the DOD. You kind of can think like they are. Are we headed towards, is China picking at us for war? Are we itching for war? Do you think that's on the horizon?
Well, China is certainly going to be pushed there because the world has woken up to what they've been doing, how they've been stealing from everyone. And so they're going to try and fight back. And we've got to prepare for that.
Thank you so much. Kevin Freeman, economicwarroom.com.